What's up and what's going on, fellow fanatics, and welcome back to yet another episode. And in this episode, we want to talk to you guys about the rumors that may be rumors, that may not be rumors, that actually may be true of Jaden Smith portraying Miles Morales in the MCU. And that comes to us from an article that was put out by PopTime.Space. Will said that his son Jaden Smith is training to join a big film saga. Amid casting rumors, my son is preparing himself physically and mentally to take the place of one of the characters who will make history for the first time in a saga of a movie that many already know and asked for. If you remember, Jaden Smith a couple of months ago put out that picture of himself with the Spider-Man mask on, and it sparked a huge buzz on the internet about, is Jaden Smith going to be playing Miles Morales? Jaden Smith has been a huge fan cast amongst the Marvel fandom as far as becoming Miles Morales. Now, I don't dislike Jaden Smith. I think Jaden Smith is a great... I think Jaden Smith is a good actor. I think that
just a little bit.
I think that what he's doing, community-wise, is great. So Trey, when you hear that, where does your mind go with him potentially playing Miles Morales?
Man, it's nothing against him personally. The thing I can relate this to the most is like, I've been heavily following the One Piece live action, right? And Cole Sprouse, it's his profile picture. He's done tons of cosplay
Cole Sprouse is playing someone in One Piece?
No, he wants to really bad. And that's what I was saying. It's his profile picture. He's done cosplays of it. And it's like, just because these actors, like Jaden Smith with the mask on, just because they want to do it doesn't mean they're the right cast or the right character for it. Said it again, is he going to stick to this role? Is this going to fit age-wise? Is it going to fit timeline-wise? I just feel like it's a big name attached to a character that we don't need. I'm sorry, this is also a great role, especially if you bring him in with Tom Holland, right? A lesser-known actor can cut his teeth on this role and have the respect that goes into, this is the film that got me. Spider-Man got Tom Holland where he is.
Oh, yeah.
And so this could do the same thing for another actor that isn't already touring around the globe with, his albums, that isn't doing all this stuff. It rubs me the wrong way because I'm like, is he gonna really give it effort? And on top of that, is he going to carry the torch? Because it's a torch you gotta carry, man.
It is. Cody.
I think I'm on the more opposite side of Jaden Smith as a great actor. I don't really like particularly most things that he's done, I'll be honest.
Right.
There's nothing that sticks out in my head besides Karate Kid. There's films of his that I really like. Especially where I really like him as the character. I think the kid should be doing something other than acting. That's all I'm saying. That being said, the biggest thing I think, what Trey said, is he's too big of a name. He's not going to be Miles Morales. He's going to be Jaden Smith playing Miles Morales. And that's what I don't want to see. There's other members of the black community that will fit the role perfect, that aren't definitely not as successful as Jaden Smith, that could be brought up more. I just feel like it's a missed opportunity to cast someone that we don't know versus trying to get a big name, especially with heroes that should be well known, like Miles Morales.
Q, when you hear Will Smith make these claims about, him physically and mentally preparing, and not just physically and mentally preparing, but this will be the first time in a saga of a movie that many already know and have asked for. So where does your mind go with him potentially joining the MCU? And
I kind of disagree with both of what they said a little bit, more so because of the fact Karate Kid was one of my favorite movies, and he was so young in that, and to see the emotion he put into that as how young he was, and I don't know, I feel like how many Karate Kid movies there are, it's hard to go make a good one then when there's so many out and stuff, and him as a young kid dedicated himself, learned everything. So
I did not knock his acting career.
No, I'm just saying, so
I did.
I feel like whenever you bring
Karate Kid was good.
When you bring that up, how dedicated he was to that, if he's grown anywhere, yeah, we haven't seen too much acting from him or anything, and or anything good at least, but I think that's why I'm more so excited, because we know if this is true with everything, Marvel and everything, as we say all the time, Kevin Feige's not going to let him fuck around with it or anything. He's not going to let him come around and play with it or anything. And,
that's true.
You know, he is a big name, and there are most likely more people that could do it, and there's people that could benefit from it more, but at the same time, you know, I don't think too many people really, outside of like the comic book fans and stuff, know about Miles Morales or anything. So it's like,
I don't know. He's pretty big.
He's pretty big.
I guess the Spider-Verse did come out and stuff, so now they might. But it's like in terms of live action and everything, it's like seeing him look like Jaden Smith on screen isn't gonna be that big of a deal as y'all are making it out to be, I think.
I do not think that Jaden Smith is a bad actor. I think Jaden Smith is a good actor. I'm not going to sit in here and put him in the category of a great actor, but he is a good actor. We got what we've gotten with Karate Kid, and that is one of my favorite movies. The emotion he brings in that brings the emotion out of me every single fucking time.
Maybe I need to watch it again. I haven't seen it in a long time.
I wanna go home.
Every time that boy is on screen in that movie, it's an emotional grab moment. He grabs you emotionally. He encaptures you. So I don't think that he would have a problem on the acting stand. One, because Will's not going to let him. And when I say let him, I mean Will's going to guide him. Especially on a role like this, if it truly is Miles, Will's going to have his hand in his hand, and he's going to guide him along that way. Why? Because I'm your father. I think that he won't do bad there. I will say this. The complaints that I've seen from people on Twitter saying, well, he's a flat earther, and he's non-binary, and he's this, and he's that, and blah, blah, blah. That has shit for shit to do with his acting.
Anything.
But see, let me pose one thing to you on that one. That goes into what I'm saying about, I think he is a big enough name that all this other stuff about him is going to drown out Miles Morales.
Of being
I'm sorry,
Morales.
but it's like when you have people talk about like The Rock and Ryan Reynolds when they play a role, they're playing The Rock, they're playing Ryan Reynolds, right? That's who you see. You don't see, I don't remember the name of their character, I just remember that's The Rock or that's Ryan Reynolds,
but
right?
See,
and I'm worried that could happen.
I disagree there on I agree to an extent, but I also disagree because we just watched a 3-hour Batman movie with Edward from Twilight.
Yeah, but he's
Yeah,
not
but he's
on the
not.
level of The Rock.
But also, if you've seen like
And
The
he's in a mask
Lighthouse,
the whole time.
if you've seen
So Spider-Man doesn't wear a mask?
No.
I'm not saying Spider-Man does,
If
but
you've seen what
Miles
Robert
Morales
Pattinson has done other than Twilight, if you've seen Lighthouse, if you've seen
So when he's
anything else
Bruce, he
he's
has
done-
the bat mask on?
He almost had the mask on the whole movie, and he had makeup on.
But so are we just assuming moving forward that we're never going to see him as Bruce, like for more than
But are you
5 minutes?
But here's what I'm saying is the difference is Robert Pattinson is very diverse in his roles. If you've seen all the movies he's been in,
I've seen the movies.
whereas
he's in.
again Ryan Reynolds in The Rock, for example, play Ryan Reynolds in The Rock in every movie.
I don't think Jaden Smith has
And
that problem, though.
I'm hoping not, right? That's what I'm getting at. I'm just saying I don't want it to. The draw to a Rock movie is The Rock. The draw to a Ryan Reynolds movie is Ryan Reynolds.
I mean, that's why they made Red Notice.
But I don't want this to be Jaden Smith. I want this to be Miles Morales.
But
that
again,
is the only fear I have.
That's what I'm saying. You know, you guys are all saying some of the same things that people on Twitter are saying, and people on Twitter are saying he just can't do it. He can't. We don't know that.
Right.
Well,
that's just a fear.
My argument
It's just a
is,
worry.
So, in your opinion, is Jaden Smith the biggest named actor who would get introed into a Marvel role? Because I feel like
Marvel role in general, no.
There are bigger actors who've been introduced into Marvel roles, and we haven't seen a single Marvel superhero that we don't look at as like the actor. I feel like we look at all of them as who they are as on screen. Like when I see Robert Downey, I'm more so like that's Tony Stark.
No, I see RDJ.
So like almost all their actors play their role to perfection. So it's like I think it's more so a business thing.
You see
But-
RDJ.
But the whole real
He's
quick
Tony
though,
Stark.
let me ask you
Yeah.
this though. How many of these actors
see Tony
were
Stark as
A-list
one of
actors before they started in Marvel movies? That's what you're missing there.
But
Is
Jaden's not an A-list actor.
Yes, what I'm about to. Jaden's not.
Jaden Smith is an A-list celebrity.
But he's not an A-list actor.
Yeah.
But
I don't even know if I consider Jaden an A-list celebrity.
Not he, and he's fell off a lot too. Like more recently through COVID and everything. Like you
can't be Will Smith's kid active in these kind of things and not be an
What do
A-list.
you hear about Willow
what's
Smith?
Will
What do you hear
Smith's
about
oldest
Willow
son's
Smith?
name?
I've never
What?
heard anything
What's
about
Will Smith's
Willow.
oldest son's
Trey?
name? But what does Trey do?
Since you've heard "Whip My Hair," what have you heard about Willow Smith?
Oh, I've listened to her whole discography actually.
Since
that's you, though.
I do love what this family puts out. I'm just saying.
Like he was saying about RDJ and them, like Robert Downey Jr. had a Robert Downey Jr. went to jail
Yeah, he went to prison.
before he came to Marvel.
Like jail.
So judging someone off of what they've previously done or what they've previously thought or where they've previously been before they enter the MCU is not fair, and it's fucking ridiculous. You're looking at this person for everything they've done outside of the role. They have not even stepped into the role yet.
Right.
And now the only problem I will have with Jaden being Miles Morales is that he is not biracial. And I think, and you might be like, well, Darius, it's not important. Fuck you. It is. Representation matters. Not the first biracial Marvel character, and he's not even the first biracial Spider-Man, because that's Miguel O'Hara. But when it comes to him being biracial, that's significant in Miles' story. His mother is Latina, and his father is black. So you need to have someone in the role that is Latino, that is black, and that can speak both languages. Jaden Smith, somebody could say, well, Darius, he could learn it. Fuck that. It's not real. That's the only problem I have with it. Anything saying that Jaden Smith is this or Jaden Smith is that, he's non-binary, he's a flat earther, he can't really act.
But you do think he should be authentically Latino and black?
I do.
I think that's a fair point.
That is the main point. The things I listed before were worries, you know what I'm saying? Like possible, I don't know how I feel about it, right? I'm not saying he can't do it, but that is one that does make sense to me, is Miles pulls a lot on his Hispanic heritage.
Yeah.
He really, really does. And again, yeah, you can learn it, but like, if you don't know, if you didn't grow up with that kind of heritage, you're not gonna know.
Right.
Well, it's also kind of disrespectful to go.
It is very disrespectful.
To go fake
it's very disrespectful.
Like if you're not part of that culture,
that's part of
environment. Go ahead.
I mean, that's kind of part of what acting is. I mean, Tom Holland's not from New York.
I mean, yeah, no, but that's a whole different environment.
It is different.
That's different because it's disrespectful.
They'd be making up almost for someone to like be.
It's disrespectful to the community. It's disrespectful to the Latino community. It's disrespectful to the black community. It's the same disrespect of not recasting T'Challa. It's fucking disrespectful.
Well, and I mean, I don't think their intent is going with disrespect because they're trying to find a person of color.
I don't think the intent is ever to disrespect.
But I think it is.
I'm not saying that. I'm not putting that on Marvel at all.
Right, but what I'm saying is this goes back to what I first said in the beginning of this video is there are better people who can need to cut their teeth on a role, people who, again, like Tom Holland, will love this role. This role will bring them up. Like, I just think there's, I don't want to say more deserved it because there's nothing wrong with Jaden Smith. It's just, I think there are people who could fit it better.
I'm going to piggyback on that. I love the come-up story of seeing someone like Tom Holland who, I mean, let's face it, if he didn't become Spider-Man, there's no way he'd be where he's at today. You know, we're talking. I mean, not saying no way that where he's at.
I would agree.
But I mean, to the level of success. I mean, he might be successful, but to the level of success, everybody in the world knows who Tom Holland is.
That's very true.
He didn't have that before this.
Right.
You know, Jaden to some degree has always been famous.
That's not wrong. That's true.
I'm not, and I will agree with you on this. I think anything besides previous acting stuff shouldn't be brought into opinion. Like I said, I really enjoy the come up.
For sure.
Well, his opinions are fine. It's like, I mean, this isn't. Oh, this
flat
guy.
Earth opinions, not. But
no. When I say fine,
but I'm not gonna judge him.
When I say fine, what I'm doing is this guy isn't over here, you know, beating women or being homophobic or being any kind of exclusionary. He's not exhibiting behavior that is dangerous to others.
A good guy.
Yeah, exactly. It is. I can disagree with you all day long, but if you're a good person, fuck, okay. Like, I mean,
right.
I think my final thoughts on it would be like, when it comes to being famous, the projects he's put out in acting haven't been that good outside of Karate Kid to me. And so when it comes to being famous, he's famous because he's Will Smith's son. And he didn't ask for that. So I think it's kind of unfair to him. If he were to really want to do this role, I think it's kind of unfair to count him out of it because he's Will Smith's son.
That's a great point.
It is.
That's a great point.
And so I think that's kind of my final thoughts on it.
I feel kind of bad for saying that.
Well, no, I don't. No, it's not like
I didn't think of it that way.
There's a difference between Twitter fingers being like, F him, he cannot do this role, versus being like, so I got some concerns.
And what are the logistics of the situation?
You gotta understand, he's auditioning for a character that we all know and love, right? Yeah. So if I can't give my critiques, fuck yourself. Yes, I can. I'm going to be absorbed. This media is made for people like me.
Right.
But I do think Twitter fingers are a little different, who are full on just dragging someone through the mud is a different
Exactly. I was just about to say that. Yeah, you can give your critiques, but in giving your critiques, you need to keep your personal feelings out of it. Mm-hmm. You know, you need to critique the person off of the work they've done, the things that you have personally seen, because none of us know Jaden personally, so when you attack him personally, you're making it personal.
For sure.
So it cannot be personal in that way. And this is not the first time that we've had Miles teased in the MCU. We had him teased twice. We had him teased in Homecoming, and we had him teased in No Way Home. Is Miles coming? Yes. Check our recent videos on the Spider-Verse, bro. I'm crazy about it. He's coming. We all know that this is happening. We all have shared our thoughts on what Miles coming to the MCU and being possibly portrayed by Jaden is going. One other thing I will say before I end it is I am on the same thing. I do not dislike Jaden. I'm not saying I don't want to see Jaden in the role, but I'm on the same thing as far as I would not mind having an actor that is lesser known play that role and then come up, because I mean, you look at Tom Hiddleston, you look at Chris Hemsworth, you look at Tom Holland. These are all mainstay names in the MCU that weren't huge before getting into the MCU.
Yep.
That's just a kind of a point there. But
yeah,
like I said, we've all given our thoughts. But always, question is for you guys. Let us know at home what it is that our viewers are wanting to see. Are you wanting to see Jaden Smith portraying Miles Morales? Are you wanting to see Miles Morales in the MCU? We've already had the 2 mentions of him. Are you wanting to see the heritage? What do you want to see more from this character in the MCU moving forward? Let us know down below. Like, subscribe, share with your friends, and we will see you guys in the next video.